Hello, me again, and I'm finally able to do something I haven't been able to do for a while. Go on another cruise, and with cruises comes cruise videos. Anyway, I figured I would cap off our tetrahedral series by taking a look at these two puzzles. So this is the next layer up. The official word for this is the Elite Tetrahedron, which I think is a very apropos name because it describes it for the platonic shape that it is. But if you were to go through the tower series, we can say that this is a true 7-layer tetrahedron, 7-layer tower as I called it. Now we've gone through the 3, 4, 5, and 6 layer. This is the 7th layer. This is not mass produced as of yet. It really should be, and I don't see why it wouldn't, because the 6th layer is really just a derivative of the 7 layer. But my whole point is to go through the concept that this puzzle here, if this is the elite tetrahedron, this is the elite cube, is that really I'm looking now at the cubes as being shape modifications of tetrahedrons if I look at that in the purest form of the platonic solid of a twisty puzzle. Now you can say, well, you got this turn over here, which is equivalent in every way to the pieces in this turn. So why not just get a twisty puzzle that has all the equivalent pieces looking alike, like this, and say that this is your base puzzle, and this is maybe a derivation of this. And fair enough, you could do that, but when I start doing the solve of this based upon the solve of this guy here, it becomes a lot more simple. So based on being a purist in terms of the classification, from now on I'm going to think of the cubes as just being shape modifications of the platonic twisty puzzle tetrahedral puzzles. So that's how I'm going to look at this. Now my pitch to you is going to be, could I solve this using techniques of this puzzle different than I solved as a pure cube, and actually make the solve easier? And my thinking is I think I can. What I'm going to do first is let's go through the solve of this guy here, of the elite tetrahedron, or we can call this a 7-layer pyramid tower or something, and see where it comes. Let me get this off the field so it doesn't fall into the ocean or something. So the solve of this is actually easier than the 6th layer because I do have a centerpiece that kind of guides where the solve is supposed to be. The good news is I'm not going to solve this like a shape mod of this guy. I'm going to solve it for what it is. I'm just going to reduce it the way that I would a pure platonic twisty puzzle, the way I would do with the cubes. And if you've seen the solve of the 4-layer and the 5-layer, especially the 5-layer and the 6th-layer, it doesn't get more complicated, and it shouldn't continue to get more complicated. You shouldn't have to continue to add algorithms. The only time that you'd add algorithms is if you have something of a parity situation because you modified it. And that's what this cube is, a modified version of this, but in its purest form. The solve strategy is really not much different. So if you can solve a 4x4, you can solve a 21x21, or an 88x88, or a 42x42. Shouldn't really matter, because the process of reduction just takes more time. So this kind of represents the largest of the mass-produced, well, I shouldn't say mass-produced, hopefully soon to be mass-produced, tetrahedral version. Now the thing about this is it's pillowed, which I can understand why, because if it wasn't, it would be a much larger puzzle. But I'm actually okay with that because I'm looking for the purity of the structure. So if anyone out there wants to design a flat version of this, let me know. I'd be happy to sponsor it. And as I'm scrambling this, I'm going to make this pitch out here as well. We were talking early on at the first part of the series of the Archimedean solids and the twisty puzzle solids, but I'm going to put out an offer out there. What I need to do to finish the kind of collection that I want is I'd like to get a representation of all the Archimedean solids in its pure twisty form. What I mean is every face has to turn. And there's about 13 of those Archimedean solids. So to all you designers out there who are interested in taking up that task, let me know, because I would like to get an example of every Archimedean solid in twisty form by the criteria that I've mentioned, where every side has to twist. Now I recognize that there are some tetrahedrons that you're just not going to be able to do that completely, but the closest proximity. So So it's more than just modifying, which I think you might be able to, but also a process of actual top-down designing and 3D printing. That would be cool. Okay. So here, this is scrambled. Pretty good scramble, I think. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to scramble this guy. I have to say, this is a really good mass-produced puzzle. The movement is really, really smooth, which always makes them more playable. Playable means you just want to twist them, you just want to play with them. Okay. Now, if you saw the tutorial on the Master's Cube and how I scrambled it and solved it really as a tetrahedron, I think you can figure out where we're going to go with this. Some of the algorithms will be used, but they'll be the same, particularly moving these guys around. Now, I do have a tutorial on this, but I'm updating that based on the current techniques that I'm talking about. Now, unfortunately, as I think of it, as I'm scrambling this, I didn't go over the algorithms that I may use, but I think you can know what I mean as I'm solving it. So I'm going to go through it as I solve it. Okay, so there it is, both derivations. The platonic solid version of this puzzle over here, tetrahedral. All right, let's get this off the stage. Okay, so to solve this by reduction, all that really means is I'm going to reduce the centers, reduce the edges. And this will be easy because I have centers here. Now, I recognize that this piece, from a twisting standpoint, is completely equivalent to this piece. But it isn't in terms of function. This is one color. So what I'm going to do is get this in, and I'm going to get these two over here. So let's find a green in the center, which is right here. And we're going to put another green one in here to match up with this. So I'm going to put this and this in, these two pieces in. Put that in. And bring it down. Okay, so I'm going to do the inside first. Now I'm going to get these three over here. So let's find it. Right over here. What I want to do is I want to put, this is already in, let's put this piece in. Let's find it on this side. I should have a plethora of opportunities. Nothing here. Let's see, I'll have to bring it in through here. As a matter of fact, I can just move it in. Move this across to the other side. Bring this up. Move this here. And bring this in like so. Whoop. Went the wrong way, didn't I? Okay, match it up to here. So now I'm going to move this all into here. Okay, now I've got some done on here, but really I just want to get this inner circle over there. Oops, sticker's already starting to peel here a little bit. Okay, so now what I want to do is get these. So I'm going to fill in this long one and these two centers over here. Okay, here's a long one over here. Let's get another centerpiece. And I'm going to move it in from in here. Splat. And let's bring that in. Okay, so this is in. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to involve this with these two small pieces over here. So I'm just building it up in the best way possible. The way this is going to work when it moves in, it's going to move in through here, and I want these two in on this side. So that's going to be these two. I've already got one. I can easily find another, just like that. And I want to find this one, angle it to this side here, and I'll move this in over here. Okay. So with that said, I'm going to place this in. Boom. Okay, so now all this is in. I just have to get this one side over here. Then I've got all of the greens. Just got to find it. Up right over here. Okay, so let's start loading all these pieces in. Every piece has a place now. So I put this in this. I'm going to move over to this side. going to turn it until it pops in where I need it. This is going to move in, so I'm going to move this down like so. Move this in place. Put this in. Now this process of reduction shouldn't take too much effort. Move this in like thus, and put it in. Okay, so now all these are in over here. Let's move these out so you can see that a little bit better. And there's no parity problems with this puzzle. Let's move this out here. Okay, so you can see this is all in. Now, remember I had to decide and I had to figure out where the next center goes. Well, here I don't have to figure anything out. It's already in. Now, this particular color scheme doesn't have blue as part of it. Okay, so we can go to red next. This is already in and this has been placed. And we're going to see a lot of opportunities where that happens. I'm just going to fill in these guys here. So, let's see. I can move this in. And I'm not going to hit this if I go along this plane. So this is in. So now I just have to put the other one in here. That shouldn't be hard to find. Maybe harder than I thought. Oh, it's right in here. Okay, going to move this out. And then I just have to line it up with this. Splat. And in. Okay, these three are in. And now I'm going to get a long one, two short ones. So here's a long one. And let's get two short ones. This will move in. Wheel this over here. Now the reason why I'm doing this, whoop, let's move this back, is because this is going to be the template to which I'm going to solve the others. This moves in. I got to bump it out of the way because I took that one out. Move this out and move this back. Now I can move this in. Okay, next I'm going to do a long one, two short ones here, one short one over here. Alright, looks like I've already got this in place for here. I just have to do a short one over here. And it's going to move this in like so. Take it out of the way. Move this back, and then I can move this in. Okay, next I do all of this. So again, the process of reduction is very straightforward, really easy. Okay, I'm going to move this in. Bring this around so that I can pop these guys in. Oop. Move this to here. Pop this in. This one has to come in as well. Well, here. Let me move this like so. Substitute it with this. Pop this one in. Move it out of the way. Move this guy back. And now I can pop this guy in. And this comes into here. Okay. So now the second center is done. Someone's not having a good time. Alright, now I've got the last two. And the last two just takes a little bit of coordination. What I'm going to do first is let's get these guys in. Now the ones that are going to be the easiest to get in are the ones that are going to have two different planes. Here's what I mean by that. This is in this middle plane over here, this piece. If I move it to here, it's still in that middle plane. So no matter what I do with these pieces here, it's always going to be in this middle plane. However, this piece is in the middle plane, but I want to move it to here, it's in the end plane. If I have two different planes, then I can do what I call the sliding U technique to get that in. So this one and this one changes planes when I turn this. This one and this one stays in the same plane. So I'm going to prioritize getting these guys in along with this. And maybe from time to time I might need to do an algorithm to do that, but for my purposes here I don't think I'll need to do that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is these two diamonds here, I have to get in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move it in like so, which took this out of the way. I'm going to turn this here, and then I'm going to move this in. I guess I can focus on these guys here too. This one and this have to be conserved. I like the fact that these two are here. Okay, so I think if I move this guy out, turn, then I can move him in here. And now I want to move this middle one in as well. And the way that that's going to work is I'm going to move this in to match with this guy over here, like so. Now I'm going to turn this, and then this is going to come into here. Bang. So what I tried to do is I tried to maximize putting these pieces in. This one is not in as of yet, but I could still try to coordinate that. So to coordinate that is, so this is going to be in this spot over here. So if I move this in like so, now here's what I'm thinking though. This is going to be in this spot. If I move this in and knock this out, then when this is here, turn it, it'll match up with this. So here's what I mean by that. I'm going to move this out. Then I'm going to turn this in such a way where it will match up with this piece over here and turn it back. Okay, fair enough, but how am I going to get it? How am I going to get it back in? Yeah, that's going to leave me a little bit stuck. So let's see how we're going to do this. I can move this in, turn it, move this back, so we're good there. Now if I turn this just right, I can move this like so, turn this in, which matches this, turn this over here, and bring it back. Okay, it still leaves one of these out, and I can't sliding you that at all. So to coordinate that, to coordinate these two together, what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to put them both in at the same time. So I'm going to move this in like that. So they're both in. I'm going to move this here. This will move back into here. Splat. Okay. Now ultimately I want to be able to move this in and then turn it and move it back, but it's not going to come in this position. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to line these up, and I'd like to turn this. So I'm going to move this like so. Now I'm going to turn it so it's still in the same layer, but it's coordinated differently. Now I'm going to turn it out. Now this is over here, so what I'm going to do is turn this over to here. So this will come into this spot. Now I can turn it, and I can turn it back. Okay, so a little bit of fancy footwork too to get these in. I'm going to do something very similar for these pieces here. Okay, I want to get this guy in, and I'm actually well coordinated because this needs to come into here. Well, I'm not so well coordinated because this is going to be in this spot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this whole thing, turn it. Now what I got to do is turn it this way so that this can be re-coordinated and put it back. Why did I do that? Well, I did that because now I can turn this into this position where it's going to meet with this piece over here. Turn it in, bring it around, turn it back. So in that way, the problem areas are in. These guys are in, these guys are on in here. These will be easy because I can do sliding U techniques. What do I mean by that? Well, let's take this piece, let's put it in this layer. We slide the U to another layer that does not intersect with it, which is this, and then move that back out. Now I simply slide it back, move this layer back up, slide this back to here, and move this layer up. And in that way I was able to get that in. So as long as when you turn this layer here, you're putting this piece into different layers. When I turn this face, you can put it into different layers, you can do this technique. If something like this, it always stays in the same layer, you can't. You have to do that little bit of fancy footwork that I showed. Okay, this to here, so we're going to move this in, slide it in from this middle area here, slide this here to the end. This is where that is now. Bring it out, slide this back, put it back in from here. Put back in from here rather. Slide this back, and you can see we have a nice clean delivery here. Boom. Okay, so all the centers are in. So a little bit of complication just based on the size of this puzzle, but nothing you couldn't handle. Okay, next is simply edge reduction. So notice there wasn't a whole lot of going on aside from just some coordination. And edge reduction is really the same thing that you've seen. So we can take a look at the red and yellow and find the other red and yellow. Oh, sorry, yellow and green. There's that color blindness. So that's going to be right over here. So if I move this to here, I want it to come in through here, or alternatively, come in through here, which I can do, but it's upside down. Nope, this truly belongs here, and that's where it's going to have to go. Boom. Okay, so this will go here. I'm going to knock out a yellow and white, so let's find the yellow and white middle over here. And it happens to be this guy right here. Move this in this configuration, so in that way I'll put this in. So, move it in from here, and then go down, down, up, up, and move it back. So we reduce two elements. Might as well continue with this, so white and yellow, and I'm going to fill in this side. I'm just going to do all the middles and all the ends. Okay, I found it, it's right over here. It's going to knock out a red and white, so that's going to be here. It's upside down, these have to be the same color, so bring it around, bring it up, and there it is. So, bring it down, replace it, down, down, up, up, and then bring it up. Okay, so these are already in. This is already in here too, so that was a bonus. Let's do the other yellow and green. Find it here. Luckily there's not a whole lot of hunting around for pieces because there's just not too many on a tetrahedron. Okay, let's turn this upside down here. Bring this up. Okay, this will come to here. Knock out the red and yellow. Find the red and yellow here. We can't find it there. It's actually this one, so I'll just have to randomly knock one out. This one. So bring it in, down, down, up, up, bring it back. Okay, these are all wrong, so we have to deal with that. So let's knock this out. Well, better yet, this was wrong. I don't know if I just put that in wrong or not. But yeah, so this is going to come over here. I might have put that in wrong. So move that in, down, down, up, up, and this is knocked out. Okay. So this, we can now put this one in. Move this into position. And now this green and well, that's over here, so can't do that. But let's move this in, and then down, oops, down, up, up, and this moves out. Okay, we can start moving these in. I don't like this one over here, so let's find the other green and red, or yellow and red, right over here. Let's move it into where it's supposed to be. Now I can actually move both of these in, so that's what I'll do. So which one is not in yet? on one side. They both seem to be in on one side. So does this. Okay, it looks like we're down to the last two. No, I don't think so. I think there's something else. No, this is in. Must be this. Nope, that's in as well. Where's the green and white? Right over here. Okay. And this. No, that's in too. Okay, yeah, so I need a sacrificial lamb. It will be this one. I'm going to move both of these in. Down. Down. Up. Up. And move both of these back. Okay, what I want to do next is I do want to move this back into here, but I have to coordinate it with the piece that I just brought out, which is this. Okay, so this will go in, down, down, up, up, and this will come back. Okay, so what I should have, now this one is completely in, all of these middle ones should be in, so now it's just a matter of filling these gaps. So let's finish the green and white. And that's going to be this guy over here. And that'll take this one out, which is fine. This doesn't belong here anyway. So down, 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 up, up, and this comes back here. Okay. Why don't we do another yellow, which is actually here. This is surrounded by the wrong ones. Turn it upside down, pop it up here. Whoop. Yeah, so this will come to here. Red and white. Is there a red and white here? Right over here. And that'll bring this whole thing in. So down. Actually, yeah, red and white. So down, 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 up, up, and up. So this whole thing is in. Alright, we got a lot of work to do on the green and reds. So here's a green and red here. Okay, so this will knock this one out, which is good. Find one that's not already finished. That's this one. But we got to turn it upside down, which we'll do here. So bring it down, 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 up, up, and bring it up. Okay, so we're getting much of these done. Okay, so here's a yellow. Let's upside down this. Yellow and white. This will come to here. This will go here. This will go here, and this will go up here, and should completely reduce these. Just have to turn this upside down. So we've got down, 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 up, up, and this comes back. Okay. So basically we have a completely reduced Jing's Pyramix. There's no parity with this. So the solve is now the same thing as the 3-layer tetrahedron. So start off with green. Let's actually get these in. So this green corner is in over here, and this is in over here as well. Now we put in our edges, our fully reduced edges. Here's a green and yellow. So that's going to belong up here. Move our corner down, put our edge in, and move our corner back up. Don't worry about the centers. Its time shall come. Okay, bring this down, move it up, and bring it in. And now for you, turn, turn, and turn. Okay, so we filled all these in. Now we just have to fill in the gaps here. Okay, edges, don't worry about the centers. Are any of them in? None of them are in. Are any of them in but upside down? And no. So we're going to do R, U, R, I, U, R, U, R, I, And it happened to fix it. I didn't even have to do any center rotation. Okay, but if I did, you know, I do 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, 3. I'm demonstrating that because it will come into play with this guy here. Okay, so if I see this, I flip them, there won't be any parity problems, so 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, and 3. And done. Okay. Now, this is not mass produced yet, but this one is. So what my challenge is, before moving on, go ahead and scramble this. You have the guidance from the master SKU, solving it just like a 4-layer. Go ahead and scramble it and solve it using this technique and see if it's easier. You will be using some algorithms that you did, but instead of going all around the puzzle to put those all in, you only need to do it in a very limited capacity. So give it a try, and next, let's solve this as we would a modification of a tetrahedron.